Hey guys, so this week we kind of wanted to talk about some of our last week. We got to go on a couples dinner and we had a great time. You want to tell them a little about how you felt about it, and then I can talk about it too?
So it was with our Lakelands Association, the Baptist Association up here, and they had Sheely's barbecue, which was a huge draw for me because I love Sheely's and we don't get it very often, so I was really excited about that. And I ended up, this guy came up, this speaker, and he's like this gruff guy from Maine, the state of Maine. And I just remember thinking, like, what's he about to share? His name is Ken Graves, and he ended up being such a cool guy. Like, he ended up just having a really good message and bringing out some things from the story of Adam and Eve that I'd never really thought about before. And just knew scripture really well, so I really love that. And we both kind of felt like when we left there, we learned some stuff, so that was neat.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I don't think my expectations is a lot of those types of things are kind of fluffy, but it was an opportunity for me to go spend time with my wife, which is what I wanted to do. A couple's night, just me and her, have a little fun together, and then it ended up being a really good sermon. He did talk a lot about Genesis, and he brought out some new things and I've studied Genesis a lot. That's kind of one of my favorite things to talk about is creation, and he even taught me a few things. I really enjoyed it. So that's one of the things we've talked about in the past is really making time for each other, and that was not something we had planned to do. It was just something we saw the church was promoting it. We're like, why not? This is an opportunity. Take the opportunities that you have. We have Valentine's Day coming up, and a lot of people wait for those types of days to do something. And I don't really understand that mentality of waiting for a holiday to do something nice for the person you care about. I heard Mark Gungor teach one time, which would you rather have, a dozen roses on Valentine's Day or one rose every month? And I think most people would much rather have you think about them, or at least they would allow you to know that they're thinking about them throughout the year, not just making a big deal out of one day. And I'm not knocking Valentine's Day. We're doing something, and I encourage you to, go out and have some fun as well. But I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, it's not about a day, it's about a relationship. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. Herbie asked me this year, what would you like to do for or what do you want for Valentine's Day or something, I guess. And really, my thing was let's just go, eat dinner somewhere nice together, maybe a new place, since we like to try new things together, and experience those things and make memories together. So I was like, why don't we just go try something different in our town? And so that's what we're doing, hopefully. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the practical side of me is well, we probably don't need to spend the money on that, or we've got prom season coming up, I have to buy a prom dress for my child and things like that. But what is the price of this time? We would end up spending that money anyway. So I don't know. You just have to think about that and do what works best for you. And, God usually tends to provide a way for those kind of things to happen. So what kind of things do y'all do to celebrate Valentine's Day, or just celebrate loving each other? I'd be so interested to hear what kind of things you do and how you find ways to let your spouse know. One of the things that I started years ago for my kids and Herbie every year for Valentine's Day is I just take construction paper and cut out heart-shaped little pieces of paper. I don't know where I saw this. It was not my total idea. I'm sure I saw it somewhere. And I'll write things every day of the week leading up to Valentine's Day, and I stick them on their door. Well, they keep those up on their door all year long, and Herbie's are on the side, right by our bed, on his thing on the side of the bed. And it just says, little things I love the way you make others smile, and I love the fact that you're kind to others, and for my kids, just little things that are just specific to them that I love about them. So, just little things like that mean a lot.
Yeah, and you know how your spouse is. We don't want to waste our money on chocolate and stuff like that. I think you still like flowers.
I do love flowers,
and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I saw something one time. I don't know where I saw it, but I really liked it, and I hope I get this right. It said you never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. And that just kind of stuck with me. So, for us, I'm not afraid to say, hey, what would you like to do? Because to me, I would rather us come together and agree on something we both like to do and celebrate that day. So hopefully you can do that too. Hopefully you have the freedom in your relationship just to ask, that your spouse is not one of those types of people that says, well, you should just know. Well, you know what? Sometimes you don't. And especially if you've been married or dating a long time, sometimes you can get a little bit of a rut. And it's good to talk about things and just, try new things and just have fun with your relationship. Don't be afraid. Don't get stuck in old habits. Make new memories. So that's what we do. And again, I'm not trying to say, if you're like one of those people like, I'm not going to go out in the crowds and all, that's fine. You do what you feel comfortable with. But at least pick another day, do something, go out, have some fun, make some memories.
Or, when our kids were smaller, like we would get them involved. Like there's been a couple years that our kids are like, can we make dinner for you and Daddy? And they would set up candles and we would all sit around. One year, I remember bringing home Taco Bell and a heart-shaped pizza from Papa John's, because one of my students, this must have been like the first year we were here or whatever. Yeah. So like I brought that stuff home and we all just sat around our table with candles lit, just me and Herbie and all the kids, and ate a candlelit dinner of heart-shaped pizza for Valentine's Day. And we had a great time, and that was a good memory for them. I think it's so important when you have children to show them that to make things special for them. And it's so easy to make things special. It doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of resources if you don't have those kind of things. If you've got younger kids, they will think it's so fun for you to just write little notes to each other and leave those, or light candles for your dinner that night, just whatever regular dinner you're having. Like just show your kids that you can make anything special.
I'm glad you said that, because we try to include our kids in a lot of things. We make time for our relationship, but then we also try to bring them into everything we do too. And I remember we took them to the melting pot and got that fondue. With the fruit and stuff like that, and the melted chocolate, and they just had chocolate all over their face. They just had a great time. I was just looking at the memories on my Facebook the other day. Do that. Don't forget about that. Your family is important too. We talk a lot about our marriage because that is the foundation of it, but it's also the family that's important too. So, those are great things to do. So, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, guys. Well, maybe you'll think about us on your Valentine's. Hey.
Oh, no, that might be weird.
Yeah, don't mess up. Hey, until next week, it takes grace.
It takes grace. Have a good rest of your week.